So hello and welcome to the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup in Zonhoven in Limburg in Belgium. We are in one of the classic courses in Zonhoven, in De Kuil, with the great big sandpit that opens up in front of our thousands and thousands and thousands of spectators who've made the way here to see the best in the world take on this course. All top 10 riders on your screens are here with us in the elite standings, and in those standings, 40 points for a win, 35 for second, 25 for third, then 22, 21, 20 on the way down. Means that it is really, really key to be right up at the front and to have today some good mud technique as well as good sand technique, because it's been wet, it's been incredibly cold, it has snowed. It's a bit like 4 seasons in one day. Will our series leader, though, be able to cope with the cold? He's not known for dealing with the cold well.
Your health?
I hope now it's okay. I had a really difficult week. Yeah, I'm not sure how it will be today, so I hope to do a good race, but it could be bad as well, but I'm happy that I can race today.
So that is no problem. You can race here today, that's no problem anymore.
No, I think all the major issues are over, I hope, but the case will be will the legs be good or not. Like I said, it was a difficult week. I didn't ride my bike a lot, so yeah, it's a bit uncertain.
Mathieu Vander Poel, last year you were standing here and complaining about your back. What a difference.
Yes, a year can make a lot of difference, but yeah, like I already said a couple of times, I'm enjoying how I'm riding at the moment, especially if I think about last year, it was completely different.
And you feel no more pain now?
I always feel something, but I think if you ask the whole cyclocross bunch who feels his back, I think 90% will say they feel something. So, but it's not holding me back anymore, and that's the most important thing.
It can be 10 out of 10 today. Do you think about that?
Well, not really. Of course, I just tried to win the race today, but yeah, it's just a race I like to ride, and we'll see yeah, if I can find my good legs again.
Joris Nieuwenhuis, you're second in the GC. It's 35 points. Do you want to chase Eliezer a bit today?
I think today is going to be hard because he's also here. I mean, of course I would like to, but I think that's going to be hard. And also I have 2 teammates behind me who are really close, so that's, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
This could be maybe a team issue. You and Lars and Pim to ride together?
Yeah, I don't think it's an issue. I mean, in the end, everybody knows that on courses like this, it's going to be who's the strongest guy. And I think we are just going to, I mean, everybody's going to go for their own result also in the race. And in the end, we will see how the GC will be.
Lars van der Haar with Pim Bronhaar and with Joris Nieuwenhuis. You're with 3, chasing the number 1. Is this still a goal?
The chasing, yes. Winning is probably not an option, but yeah, see if he wants to go first lap, or whenever he wants to go, he will go. So I think we'll definitely be racing for second, and I think everybody wants to be second today.
Well, very honest interview as always from Lars van der Haar. The second row is a really star-packed second row. Mathieu Vander Poel in those World Championship strikes. Michael Van Toren out in the European strikes. The village that Monsieur Otz is representing is his home village. He's changed teams. You might not notice the difference because he's in the Spanish champs, but he represents his home village, and that is the project that he's now representing and racing for. Really looking forward to see how he makes that work. Absolutely, talk about racing with your heart for your hometown. And he's on the second row, as is Cameron Mason, as well as a real star-packed cast. But the front row, well, these are the riders right up there in the world standing. The first one called down is the series leader. Now, in there, he was 6th. At Hulst, he didn't ride, scored 0 points. He currently leads by 35 points. 40 for the win. It's going to be very, very interesting what happens. Is he on form? He's been very, very ill. He hopes he's back, but coming back and racing at full speed, he's got to stay ahead of this man. Joris Nieuwenhuis, first of 3 teammates, as I said, on the way through. And we've asked the question plenty of times, are they going to be affected by team tactics or orders? And the answer is always no. Alongside him on the group will be Pim Ronhaar. Ronhaar, the next rider called down. 2 wins so far for Pim Ronhaar this season. 1 win for Nieuwenhuis, 2 wins for Isabit. They're the riders who've been on the podium, along with a top stepper for Lars Vander Poel, the teammate who's going to be called down alongside. Lars will come down in the Dutch champions jersey, which he will be looking to defend next week as we take a gap in the World Cup schedule. So Lars makes his way around. He's going to start in the other side of Eli Isabit. Isabit sandwich in between Vander Poel and Nieuwenhuis. Will he get squeezed? Have they got the pace to squeeze him? That's going to be the question. Now, Niels van der Poel goes to the line, who's out on practice with Quinten Hermans and with Mathieu van der Poel. And looking really interesting out there. I'll tell you something, he was looking very smooth out and around the course today. A man who we know has got loads of technique, as has this man, Laurens Fiek, one of the riders who is always reputed to be great in the sand. His best position, he actually won the men's junior race back here in the 2010-2011 season. In terms of elite, well, a 2nd place in the 2019-2020 season is his best position. He has been a 3rd last year. Will he be on the podium again? It's a big ask today. Everybody wants those places, but when you've got Mathieu van der Poel potentially looking to take away another win and make it 10 from 10, it reduces those spots left available. Ryan Camp on his way down to the line, changing from the Power Thousands team down into the man in black section, sponsored rider at the moment. And our last rider being called down is going to be Tuna van der Bosch, moving across last season into the Creelan Corridon. Squad continues onwards, and Van der Bosch, another rider who really is having a great end to his World Cup season. So we have the race for the podium and 4 positions in today's race here at Zonhoven, round number 12 of 14. We also have the points race to take away the maximum amount from here in Zonhoven into the last 2 rounds. 2 weeks time we'll be going to Benidorm, then into Hoogerheide. Last year's World Championships were in Hoogerheide, and if you watch that, you'll know that that is going to be absolutely packed as we come to the culmination of the World Cup. After that, well, there's still many series, and of course the World Championships in Tabor to wrap up the season. But our riders' thoughts will be on racing today. Now, if you haven't seen the women's race, let's give you a quick indication of what the conditions are like. The sand is packed hard. We have got very changeable lines. It's not soft, it's not fluffy, and it is muddy outside of the sand section. Sveek with what is a pretty traditional sand tyre there, not very aggressive treads anywhere. Pim Ronhaar, well, going across to what is an intermediate tread. Full-on file treads there for the man who probably rides slicks pretty much everywhere in training. Van der Poel, definitely the rider who seems to have an innate sense of balance. He's got his own gyroscope inside him, the way he stays upright. So his teammate alongside him, Joris Nieuwenhuis, then it is Ryan Camp. A real mix of treads here, another inter. Now, traditionally, if this was dry, we would have seen many, many more sand treads for the fast sections on there, because it does pack down really quickly. But because the muddy sections are tough, and because the sections can make a massive difference, drive is going to be important. Now, our cameraman dives out of the way. The tape is withdrawn. Our riders go on the green lights. Will the banner at the side of the course be correct today? Will Mathieu be the best? Will it be one of the rest? And we go, it's race time. Will it be a Vander Poel shot? Will it be Nieuwenhuis? It's going to be close between them. I'll tell you something. That is a big, big kick from the side there. As you can see, Svik is really up for this. He's moved right up on that right-hand side. Nieuwenhuis is going to have to fight him off, as is Lars Van der Haar. Thibaut needs to come in from the rows further back, trying to dive up on the right of that bunch. Vander Poel already trying to get in position. The charge is on. This is like the charge of the Light Brigade. It's not into the Valley of this, it's into the Valley of Doom. It's down into De Coyle, into the sandpit, and a big problem for Mason here, the British champion. Hell, he's used to starting a long way back. It doesn't get any further back than Plum last, and that is where he is at the moment after an issue. Probably a look back at that as Eli Iserbyt, the series leader, moves on to the front. Well, Iserbyt's testing his form early. He's doing it at the very start here. He's gone up onto the front. A little bit of a look down at the bike there. That is not necessarily normal. As we take a left now, it is really tricky, this turn in. We're into the descent. You can see and you can hear the crowd. I think most of the team managers will have been watching that through between their fingers. Nobody riding this ascent all the way up once the first rider, that was Iserbyt, jumped off. Everybody else forced to come off and run. Everybody following that same line, pushing the back. One or two diving to the left. Now the riders left are right on here. It is much, much deeper. It's coming up over the socks of some of the riders in practice. And it meant if you're on the right-hand side, you've got more of a chance of getting through smoothly. The riders right now is down. Svik leading at the moment. He has got the lead ahead of Iserbyt. Nieuwenhuis, Vander Poel, Van der Poel, Van der Bosch. Camp coming through. Van Toren out doing the same. Van der Haar a bit further back, and we're just taking a look as we come in to this left-hand turn. This is the first passage past the pit from the start. Finish straight to the pit. It's 920 metres. From this pit to the next, it is 1,480 metres. Much longer this next section, so have a problem as you've come off from this pit. You've got a long, long way to go. Well, Mason is on his way up that bank. He knows that his chance to score points have pretty much disappeared. Pushing his way up there, and I don't think anybody would blame him after that to take a did not finish. He's had a long and very tough season so far. He's put in some fantastic performances. It may well be that he decides that it is just not worth the chase after, but he will be looking to put on the show as well. He's very aware of the culture of cyclo-cross. Oh, Nieuwenhuis, big dive around the outside there. No, that was a definite I want the front as we come down here. And the turn in, Nieuwenhuis leads them down. This second descent is tricky. It's not usually as bad as the first. It is slightly less cambered than before. And if you remember last year's race, we saw problems for the riders at the crossing point where the pedestrians were coming from one side of the course to another. That crossing point has been moved to the very base of the descent of De Coyle, and that means that the bottom of the pit is the crossing, not on the cambered traverse. Less issues for the riders, safer for the spectators. If for some reason they need to get across, usually it's just for more fritz and mayonnaise. Now Vander Poel, not yet at the front. All the rest of the riders breathing a big sigh of relief at this moment in time. That's the case as they make their way up on to the top. A firm favourite for this Vander Poel with what are 3 wins. So Mason in 65th place, the chap with the team, and that is game over. He goes back down through the centre of the pit. I think that will be the first part of the season done. We'll look forward to see what he does at National Championships at the final rounds, and of course going in to the World Championships in Tabor on what has been a great breakthrough season really for the young Scotsman. Back to the front of the race. As you can see, we're just starting to get a gap open up behind Ryan Camp here at the moment. And that means the gap opening behind the front 7 or so riders. Nieuwenhuis leading. Vander Poel makes a move around the outside there. This is much harder to ride than it has been previously. The line that Vander Poel takes merges in on the apex of that turn. He merges in second place. He's taking the left-hand line on his centre, and this is where Vander Poel took a tumble last year, whilst Wout van Aert was on his wheels. Wout van Aert not taking to the start line. Wout van Aert, the only rider to beat Vander Poel last time on here, because this was a really, really tough descent. Vander Poel, though, suffering from his back last year. This year, I think his quote was pretty accurate there. 90% of the bunch, I would suggest maybe 100% of the bunch have got a bad back at some point, because everybody is going to come off. Now, is a bit big question marks over his fitness, his return to racing, as Pim Ronhaar is a long way down here. Ronhaar at the moment sitting around about that 9th position on the last of our timing screens. And you can see this massive field of riders well and truly spread out as the race leader. Joris Nieuwenhuis opens up the throttle. He's on the front here. Vander Poel at the second position. Then it's going to be Laurens Fiek, and the gap between Fiek and Iserbyt is opening. They can't afford to let that go much longer. The riders behind will be queuing up to have a go. Ronhaar goes through there for the Baloise Trek Lions. He's going to go through in front of Emile Verstring, and then it's going to be Lars van der Haar. Van der Haar has got Thibaut Nice on his wheel. The pit's very, very quiet, mostly abandons rather than bike changes in the women's race. I suspect that's going to be the same here. So Nieuwenhuis looking to maximise the points. Sitting in second position, he will want to go as far clear and put as many riders as he can between him and Eli Iserbyt. Iserbyt's points total could be a winning total. It could be, it is possible. It depends what happens behind. Nieuwenhuis to Ronhaar to Lars van der Haar. Van der Poel probably, realistically, because he's sub 200 points, not likely to make it now. Just keeping an eye on that Fiek on that descent. He looked pretty smooth. Vander Poel, very focused. His technique tidier than his hairstyle, that's for sure. So on to the straight. Lap 1 is going to be complete. Joris Nieuwenhuis goes through with Vander Poel's feet on his wheel. The chase is being led, if you can call it that, by Eli Iserbyt. The gap has really opened up here, 9 seconds. Now, over the course of 1 hour's racing, that is not huge, but you've still got to work to bring that back, and we haven't yet seen an attack that is inevitable pretty much from Vander Poel to go off the front. That is likely to try be the case that Nieuwenhuis is going to try and go with it. That could open the gap even more, but Iserbyt, with those big question marks, he's got to answer them today. The more he can minimise the points lost today, the better. That opening lap, a 7:24 for Nieuwenhuis. A 7:24, super fast lap time around here, but very similar to last year's race time, despite the changes to the course and the changes in the weather. You can see it's just that little bit muddier. The rut's starting to form on this left turn. So heading into the curve for the big descent. We have 3 descents. This is the big one. Already things starting to get a little bit squirrely. You can just see the speed with that descent. All 3 down safely, though. Nieuwenhuis carrying the pace on here. Can he ride this out? It is doable. We've seen it being done in practice. Vander Poel goes right up on to the heels of Nieuwenhuis behind. And you can see that everybody trying to push, and Iserbyt is dropping back here. Well, Van der Haar and Thibaut Nice at the moment, relatively the big losers in terms of points, along with Iserbyt dropping down through this field. Plenty of time for that to change. This initial phase about opening a gap if you can. Ronhaar leading the chase through. Onto the bridge they go. The white at the sides, that's still frost. Only just above freezing. The wind taking that, the actual feel, the temperature a lot lower. odd line taken by Vander Poel. I think he kind of overcut the corner a little bit, but or maybe a little bit of a slide, maybe just avoiding action. Nothing drastic though. It's not going to change the outcome of the race. I don't think it's an indicator that he's got issues with the tyres. Chaser on behind here as Thibaut Nice leads Lars van der Haar through that time through our camera shot. But we're back with the leaders on one of the muddiest sections of course. It's drying as the riders go through. Very windy today. And that wind will be helping to have dried out the course. That and the fact that we've had the racing early on that's rolled the course flat, squeezed out the moisture. The riders heading around into the sand. It's still pretty damp in there. Nieuwenhuis going to lead in once again. So it's going to be Nieuwenhuis, Vander Poel, followed by Svik on the descent. So Joris Nieuwenhuis getting a second place here in the men's under 23 rank up all over to the far side of the course there, just opening the gaps up in that group behind. I'll tell you something, Pim Ronhaar on that descent absolutely diving it down. That move by Camp where he went over to the left, a massive slide on the way in, which resulted in him being offline. He did well to recover that at all, really. But you can see the man who is absolutely flying on the sand on that descent, Pim Ronhaar, is absolutely descending like a Led Zeppelin. So just taking a look at some of the riders behind, you can just see the carnage that is caused on the way through. You get it wrong if you overjudge it. The front wheel digs in. If you hit some of that soft sand, you've got a bit of an issue, or a lot of an issue on the way through. Ethan Del Grosso having a problem. Plenty of riders taking falls on the way down. The only good thing is at the top, that sand is quite soft. As you get down towards the bottom, it does harden up. And the base of the coil, it is like concrete. Now, fast left-hand turn. Very important part in the women's race. Not going to give you any spoilers whatsoever, but if you're watching it, you need to watch it like a hawk, because there are issues in all sorts of places that you wouldn't necessarily expect. And that may well be the case here today. At the moment, Joris Nieuwenhuis leading out from Mathieu Vander Poel, with Laurens Vink in the third place, but Pim Ronhaar closing down the gap behind. You can see that Toon van den Bosch is going to make this 5 at the front here, and then I think we're going to have a gap back to Van der Poel. Just waiting for a little bit of a check back. A drone dropping in, so looks like our leading 5 have got that gap at the moment as they come into this tight left-hand turn. The rut here really, really deep. You can power your way out of this on to the climb, but I tell you something, Nieuwenhuis likes to run. You can see him running regularly. By getting off and running, he's forced the riders to run rather than to get back on or just to ride it out. And it may well be that Nieuwenhuis did that as a deliberate tactic. It has allowed some of the riders behind to close up a little bit. Looks like Thibaut Nice just moving up a little bit further than Lars van der Haar has as they've come into that section. Kevin Kuhn still in touch. Kuhn just in front of Van der Haar. He's come around this right-hand turn at the top of the bank. They dive straight back down, and then it's into their next ascent. So the time gaps that had opened up have started to close back down again. It's only about 3 bike lengths at the back of Van der Bosch to Ellie Isabit at the moment. And Isabit surely is going to make contact now with the back of that group. There he goes. 5 riders, slight gap. Ellie Isabit, he has managed to bridge across to the leaders. Niels van der Putten behind. He is being taken, I think, there by Verstringer. Thibaut Nice has made that junction. Camp at the moment, probably still putting his heart back in his pocket after his scare on that big descent on the top. The rider really losing touch at the moment. That is currently going to be Lars van der Haar. Van der Haar, the last time check that we've got is 18 seconds down, and he's with Kevin Kuhn. And you can see the man in black on his way up there. So coming around to the end of our second of 8 laps here today. Nieuwenhuis is going to lead them down on to the straight, the group that had fractured and broken clear. It was 3 riders last time, this time making the way up. And I think Laurens Vink is either making his hands warmer by banging them on the side, or he's knocking off some of the sand and the mud on there. As over the top, you can just see Pim Ronhaar quickly taking up the chase. He is another rider who will not want to see the return of Ellie Isabit. He'll be looking to move up through the standings in the World Cup. A flick of the elbow from Lars van der Haar to Kevin Kuhn. There's a lot more shelter behind Kevin Kuhn than there is behind Lars van der Haar, that's for sure. Really interesting riding up that slope there. You could just see Pim Ronhaar on the front. Vander Poel in second wheel didn't choose to sit directly behind him, just moved out to the right there, just eliminating any kind of move coming over through the side. And that meant that nobody could come in and past. Now, fast laps coming in from Thibaut Nice. He made his way around in a 7:23. That's actually the fastest lap of the day so far. Nieuwenhuis pretty much exactly the same as the previous lap. So Nice moving up and through. At the moment, though, it is Pim Ronhaar who's on the front and looking to stretch this out. He has been the man who has challenged Mathieu van der Poel the most, I think, realistically, over the Christmas, the cursed period overall. He's certainly been looking good. He is a rider who has got an absolute bucket load of skill. He's a rider who's been looking very strong, a rider who we know can take victories as well. Ronhaar very, very strong in rounds 3 and 5, so that was at Dendermonde and in Dublin, both of which really were big mud, sloggy mud fests. They were really not the super fast, super quick, but you've got to remember today, it's muddy, it's hard, it looks very fast, but they're putting in some big, big power in there, and Ronhaar has been right up in the mix. He's been on a podium in pretty much half of the rounds that we've had so far, and that really has helped his points total. Now the Belgian Trek lines to a very strong season so far. Now, Van der Haar still being distanced, just comes around the turn. He's going to be chasing Camp in the black. Behind him, Kuhn just being distanced from Van der Haar's wheel, but this leading train of 8 riders hugging the right-hand side of the course as they come round. Ronhaar, Van der Poel, and then Svik. Nieuwenhuis dropping down into 4th position at the moment. We're not far off our next descent. We've got to take our way around the back of the VIP area over the bridge, and then we'll be starting to head back down in once again. They'll start lining themselves up, trying to take themselves up for the right position. So here we go down into the descent. Nieuwenhuis just going off to the left-hand side of the course, slightly there. Looking for a way round Svik as he came in. He was carrying pace. Instead of just putting the brakes on, he just went a little bit wider, just took the slightly longer line to keep the pace, keep the speed on the bike, just travel that further distance. And the gap opening up immediately behind Emil Verstringer at the moment. So on lap 3 of 8, you can see the riders' launch positions ticking across the screen. At the base of your screen, we're on round 12 of 14 of the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup here in Zonhoven. Riders at the race lead are setting out from De Coil. This twist and turn, this drop, a tight left turn and ascent. Part of where the riders all slow down. When they remount, the gap then starts to open back out. That compression and expansion really starting to fracture this group once again. So Thibaut Nice sitting on the back of the 2 Creelan riders. Pim Ronhaar starts to wind this up. Mathieu van der Poel, well, he's hovering in 2nd place. If that was a black skin suit, not a white world champ skin suit, he would be like a shadow at the moment to whoever is in the race lead. Can't but help think he's biding his time, waiting to the moment. For the moment, he's going to go, a little bit of a push, get round that corner there. That's like racing a crit in Belgium. Ellie Isabit wasn't going around that corner quick enough there for, I think it was for the stringer on that corner. Just gave him a little bit of a push as he came in. Didn't quite get the line right. The gaps just have opened up a little bit back to the chase. That is Nice who comes in through. A lot of pushing there by him to come round that corner as Ron Haar, the first back into the saddle. Certainly looking very good today. Ellie is a bit at the moment. Quite often call him the terrier. He's a really tenacious, a real fighter. He's one of those riders who's never going to give up. There's a little bit of a mistake there by Pim Ron Haar, just coming around there. Quickly recovered though, and Matthew Vander Poel doing well not to run onto the back wheel. So Ron Haar right up on the front of this group. The group behind closing up after that mistake. At the moment, Van Aert well and truly distanced. No sight. Here he comes into sight at the bottom, so he's still holding the group, not losing too much time. So up to this point, the riders who really have moved up through the race field, Thibaut Nice definitely one of them. Riders starting to drop back. Ellie is a bit looking to minimise the points loss. So the points running right the way down to about 25th position. But if you're right down in the dumps, down outside the top 15 places, you're down in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 points. And that means you've really got to be in touch with the leaders at the moment. He's sitting inside the top 10, so he's going to be in double figures in terms of points. 10th place earning you 16 points. But what plays out at the front could well be the determining factor when we get to the end of the season and how hard the riders have to race in the last 2 rounds. Benidorm on the 21st of January and Hogeheide on the 28th. So Pim Ron Haar leads them through. He goes over the side, maybe looking for somebody to take up the running. That may well be Svik, who's going to move up. Vander Poel, I'm not letting you have second place there. That was a very definite defence of you want to go through, you've got to go right to the front or not at all. Pim Ron Haar, actually a winner of this race in the junior race in 2017-18. Thibaut Nice winning this in 2019-20 in the junior race. But you can see the Creel-and-Corridon squad starting to shake things up. They have got 3 riders in there, as have the Belgian Straight Lions. The interloper, well, that is the big man himself, Matthew Vander Poel, who powers his way down the outside. And deciding enough is enough. I don't want any more of this. He powers over the top of that turn, right turn, left turn. This should allow them a little bit of a chance, but it depends on what he does now, how much he pushes on those pedals. He wants to go in to the descent first. He wants to be clear of any fight between the Belgian Straight Lions and the Creel-and-Corridon squad. He doesn't want to be caught in that fallout. Into the coil, into the sandpit they go. So Vander Poel powers up there. Sure, that was a ride right to the top by Vander Poel. Everybody else is left running, and this could be the moment that the big man goes. Is that it? Game over? Should we go get a beer? Go get a coffee? Could be. It could be the end of the race, at the front of the race. You should never say never, but Vander Poel has struck, and look at the gap. He rode up there. That move was made as he came out of the straight. He went round past those U-turns above the coil. He put himself in first place. He knew he could ride out of there. He's one of the riders who did that in practice on the right-hand side, and now he has the gap. We are on lap 4 of 8. He's gone clear. Everyone in the pit will be going, yep, kind of thought that was going to happen, and the gap is already opening up. 6 seconds at the moment is the time gap, and will the rest of the race field now decide to go for the fight for second and third place on the podium? This is going to be a real interesting one now. Well, what a difference a year makes. 1 year ago, he was fighting it out with Wout van Aert to try and take a victory here. He was being chased by Laurens Fiek. He's still being chased by Laurens Fiek. No Wout van Aert, but he is in the top spot. Mathieu van der Poel opening up this lead. It's no sooner gone from 6 seconds. It's now out at 12 seconds already. That is a phenomenal gap that he's opened up. He just dives down there. I'm not sure he even cared whether the bike was underneath him or not. A little bit of a readjustment as he comes around that bank, quickly off. Now, Nieuwenhuis diving down there in a pursuit, the nearest rider. The gaps really are opening. Look at the speed he's coming in there. Oh, using the force, almost swinging the bike round up onto his shoulder. We're using that U-turn, holding onto the post. Then it's going to be Nieuwenhuis quickly following on. The train is on behind him. Raha has gone from the front to the back of that group this half a lap or so as they come around there. After doing a lot of work on the front, he's been deposited to the back of the group. He's currently chasing after Laurens Fiek, who's the last of the Creel and Corridon riders. Now, Vander Poel up over the first section, takes this really fast section. Of course, there is a slight rut there, but it is incredibly sandy and broken up. Very, very difficult to hold it all together. No problems for Vander Poel. Comes in, just almost surfs it round that corner, carrying the pace through the corners like he's on tarmac. Vander Poel leading the race, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th place altogether. Series leader Elizabeth being distanced by the chasing group, or what is left of it, as Vander Poel just has to put a little bit of a dab down there. Push off the barriers as he makes his way up, just trying to get that speed back up, keep the balance. Behind him you can just see the chase there. Nieuwenhuis really starting to open that gap. How much of a gap is it time-wise? Well, it's about 7 seconds. It looks like they're right on his heels. They're not. It's 7 seconds on the screen, at the timing screen at the moment, and I think that is a problem there for Thibaut Nice, just at the back of that group. And Lars van der Haar coming into shot ahead of Ryan Camp. So as Van der Haar started to recover, he's in 8th place at the moment. Van der Haar at 36 seconds to Vander Poel, which isn't as bad as it sounds, because the nearest challenger to Vander Poel is at 13 seconds. Oh, that little gap opening up. It looks to me like the damage being done is really starting to put Emil Verstringer under pressure here. Verstringer just being a distance at the back. The last of the 3 Creelan riders. Let's just take another look at Van der Poel on this descent. And then up onto the bank. Oh, he rode it, you could just see, he had to cut that corner slightly, no problems at all. That power as he went round there, that delivery and the smoothness with which he does it. incredible. It's just not a big kick, it's just so constant. If you're not smoothing that power delivery, the wheel spins, you lose contact, you lose ground, you'll find you're not going to get as much grip. You're going to find that it's going to move about underneath you, you're going to lose time, you're probably going to stall. No problems at all for Vander Poel, looking very smooth now. So as we come around to end lap at number 4, it's going to be half a race distance for Mathieu van der Poel, who's leading them down on to the street. Eddie Isaby currently is going to be losing time. He's losing points to the race leader and the chasers. Mathieu van der Poel not in the mix for the overall win. He has had 3 wins out of 3 in the World Cups so far that he's ridden at Antwerp, at Haver, at Hulst. However, he's not up. He's not done enough to challenge for the overall lead. So our fastest lap up to Van der Poel's attack was a 7:23 by Thibaut Nice on lap 2. New fastest lap time, 7:11. No stopping at the stores for Mathieu van der Poel's 7:11. The fastest lap. Nieuwenhuis in comparison, a 7:24. So a second off Nice's fastest lap. Very consistent Joris Nieuwenhuis. Unfortunately, he's put a fast lap in. He's put a fast descent in. And Mathieu van der Poel continues to try and open that gap here in Belgium. On his way through, you can see those lap times. Nieuwenhuis quickly down there. What plant that was left in the course in the middle? There's not much of it left now. At the start of the day, there was actually leaves on that thing in the middle. There's not anymore. Everybody clipping it on the way through. I'm sure it'll grow and recover just in time for next year's cyclocross to come back through De Kuil. On the outskirts of Zonhoven, on the edge of De Kampen, on the edge of the big moorland, the national park that extends across towards Maasmechelen, which is pretty much due east of Zonhoven. That gap really is opening up. It's now moved up to 17, 18 seconds, I think, on our last time check coming through between Nieuwenhuis. So we go 17 seconds, Nieuwenhuis and Sveek. The Sveek-Nieuwenhuis battle will be a very interesting one. They've both raced on here before. Sveek had taken a 3rd last year. He took a 2nd place in the 1918 race. He was a 3rd place in 2016-17. That was an absolutely cracking race between Mathieu van der Poel and Laurens Sveek. When we used to go right up onto the top of the moor, we didn't go into the sandpit quite as much. And that day, Mathieu van der Poel taking the victory. Van der Poel with 3 wins on this course, a 2nd place as well. At the moment, despite that bike moving about, no panic by the big Dutchman as he powers his way through. So Nieuwenhuis on this course. He is a rider who has got close. He got a 2nd place in the men's under 23 in 2016-17. And that has been his best result on the race so far. He's going to be wanting to be 2nd in the elite. But these two cannot be discounted either. They're not that far behind. If Nieuwenhuis and Sveek tangle, it's not going to be all that long until they see Pim Romhaar, who turns the corner first there in the blue, red and black of the Baloise Lions, or indeed Toon van den Bosch, who's right on his heels as well. So Sveek really clearly showing that dirty side, or the right-hand side dismount with the bike up on his left. Much more difficult for him if he was to dismount on the turn. He usually has to dismount slightly earlier on a left-hand turn, so you don't have quite as far to jump down as the course drops away to the right-hand side. Lots of applause ringing out for Mathieu Vander Poel as he comes around this left and right-hand turn. He really has been the man of the season. He started his World Cup season late, started his cyclo-cross season late, but if he can keep this going, as I said in his interview at the start of the show, this would make it 10 out of 10. The drone at the moment, I think he's got the battery out to the max to try and keep up with him. And these riders at the moment are still just losing a little bit of time as they come through. 24 seconds, the last time gap that we have here from Mathieu Vander Poel back, and he's starting to catch riders. That is how fast he is going. They're going to get a grandstand view of the riders, the leading rider as they go through, but I tell you something, there's no way they're going to stay with him on this climb. The drone dropping back in are two pairs of chasers. They look close here on the screen. The camera angle really is making it look very close, and it is closing. That chase by Pim Ronhaar bringing him back on this latter section of the course. Vander Poel past another of the riders taking that tight left-hand turn. And you can see a little bit further back for Stringer, Van der Haar and Iserbyt are in there. Remember, Van der Haar and Iserbyt have their own battle in terms of points in the overall. You've got Iserbyt up in the lead. You've got Van der Haar currently sitting in 4th position. Van der Haar will want to finish in front. That will maximise the points gap between Joris Nieuwenhuis, Pim Ronhaar and Ellie Iserbyt. More riders they pack between themselves, and Ellie Iserbyt the better in terms of points in the overall standings. So this is that fight a little bit further back. You can see that is going to be Verstegen. And then you've got Lars Van der Haar. Now, Van der Haar will want to stay in front of Ellie Iserbyt. He won't want to just drag him around. He'll want to get as many riders in between him and Iserbyt. And between the riders in front, between Nieuwenhuis, Ronhaar and Iserbyt as well. More than getting there, more points. They're going to score less points. Iserbyt's going to score, the closer that's going to make it. Iserbyt in the driving seat for the World Cup series overall. The man in the driving seat in the race. 5 laps are going to be ticked off for Mathieu Vander Poel. Pedaling smoothly down on there, takes the wide line, carries the speed in through. Lap 5 complete. It's an 8-lap race. He's been out there for just under 40 minutes at the moment. Looks like he could go on for another 400 minutes. You can see the riders that have been lapped just battling it out. They know that they're going to be taking out the race at the 80% marker, and that is where they'll be withdrawn from the race. Really critical for them. They battle all the way to that 80% point. It's designed to take them out of the race and still give them a position, so they still will be allocated their positions at the point at which they hit that 80% mark, and the race referees, commissaires, can put that position down, and that will be the position that they're given. So that last little sprint really important for them. They're not on the same lap as our race leaders, who are already out. Our race leader is a solo rider, Mathieu Vander Poel, currently leading from a chase behind, and that chase behind currently being led by Joris Nieuwenhuis and Laurens Sviek. So Vander Poel, his fastest lap was a 7:11. This time around a 7:15. He's eased back a little bit. He's lost a little bit of time, in fact, between him and the group. 7:26. They only went 2 seconds slower that lap than their previous one. Vander Poel went a little bit slower. I think he's got this under control. That might be the second biggest understatement of the day. So Joris Nieuwenhuis are now on the front, and the man in position 2. Oh, little stab there. I think Svik got that wrong on the entry. He had to get that foot down and kick himself back up again. And this is now allowing Nieuwenhuis and Ronhout to go onto this bank first. And I think Svik just rode it, and so, oh, he just dabbed there on the way through. If that was a trials competition, he'd be getting getting marked down for that. But I'll tell you something, just to get over the top, it shows you how much pace they are carrying. So Nieuwenhuis and Ronhout being chased by Svik. Svik right back on there, and the fact that he rode that then meant that Vander Poel also thought, you know what, let's go for this, and he really accelerated up. The preparation to charge at a bank and the preparation to get off and dismount, that can be the difference. Just that thought process, irrespective of the physicality. Here we go. Ronhout jumps off. Svik goes up. Is he going to make it clean? You look at that line, it's starting to cut on the inside. He might have got his foot down just touching the sand there, but I'll tell you something, that was a clean ride on the way through. That's just because of how deep the sand is on that turn when your wheels are in the rut. This man, well, he's got plenty of power to get up those banks, but he's going to descend down into the coil. Yeah, he's going to take the left-hand turn. This is slightly shorter than the descent. You can see it's still really wet, the sand at the top of the bank, as the top of the moor drains down towards it. Oh, little dab, it won't be long. He won't have to carry much more speed before he makes it up and round that turn. Much deeper rut than we've seen in previous years up onto that bank, just allowing the riders to carry pace, carry speed up there. Vander Poel on his way down. He doesn't need to take any chances right now. He's got the front of the race. He's got 37 seconds at the last time gap to Nieuwenhuis and Ronhout, who have behind them Svik, along with Vander Poel. So 2 versus 2 behind Vander Poel. A mistake by Svik there. This is going to allow Vander Poel, I think, to potentially close down, potentially overtake and push on. But I think Vander Poel there just stalling behind Svik. Let Svik do the work here. Svik, the rider, regarded as having that bigger engine, a really good rider in the sand. Well, watching Mathieu van der Poel through there, that could be a carbon copy of the previous lap through those turns. Just rolling down the hill, carrying the speed in that he wanted to take over, picking the rut, dropping into it, and then working his way through that chicane. It's almost identical. I bet you could play those 2 laps back, you'd hardly be able to see any difference. Comes down tight inside line, crosses to the right for dropping in to the rut. The world champion leading this out. He'll be looking for another world championship win. I think at the moment it's a brave person who's going to bet against Mathieu van der Poel at Tabor. The World Championships coming up, the team relay kicking off the weekend, and the junior and the under-23 and the elite championships in the men's and the women's races. The first weekend in February. It's going to be really cold. It's going to be about who can deal with the conditions. The temperature has warmed up slightly in Zonhoven, but hovering just above freezing still as we follow a tune of Vander Poel on the way around here, taking this left-hand turn in the rut. He makes his way to the barriers, just pulling his way up there whilst he still can before it turns to rope and netting. So behind our 4 riders, the chase is on. You just saw Restringer running his way up the hill in the background there. He's ahead of Eli Isbit. It looks to have gapped Lars van der Haar at the moment. They're currently showing us about 3 seconds between Iserbyt and van der Haar. Thibaut Nice, and then a further 3 seconds back. Plenty of time for that to change. So we see the world champion going past another of our riders here. Looks like Morgan Gueri has just been past the Swiss rider. Has been overtaken on this lap 6 of 8. So Vander Poel going to make his way around that right-hand turn that he's approaching. Is the drop down on to the start-finish straight. He'll be completing lap 6 of 7. He'll be heading out on his penultimate lap here in Zonhoven. So he's been pretty consistent. He lost a little bit of time on his previous lap last time round, and it went out fractionally. I think it was a 7:15 that time, last time through. So we'll see whether or not he manages to maintain that pace, or he's been dropping a little bit more this time as the course has changed. He has had riders to go past, but most people will be moving out of the way. A 7:21, so he's lost another 6 seconds in terms of his pace on the course. The chasing force surely going to start focusing on each other pretty soon, if they aren't already, because up here we have riders. We have Joris Nieuwenhuis and Pim Ronhaar, both from the Balois straight lines. Ronhaar got moving to the front in the blue and red. Then we have got Laurens Fiek, currently the second of the riders on our screen, with Tim van den Bosch. We're going to make our way back up to the race leader already through the zigzags, not wanting to miss him on the big descent. But those riders behind fighting out. Fiek currently but is a 6th place in the series. You've got Pim Ronhaar in a 3rd place. You've got Niels van der Put sandwiched in between. Nobody, though, can match this man. Do you know what? It makes that descent look so easy. And you just know that pretty much anybody else on there is just not going to be able to carry that speed or have that control. So one fast line, plenty of space around the side for riders to go if they need to. But that fast line at the moment right on the well-rolled section of grass on that mud. It's been really packed down into the sand, though. That changes every single time, but certainly now making it look very easy on the descent. Our top 5 riders down there without a problem at all. Kick in here now. Fiek not able to make the most of the ascent there of riding that. I do wonder when we come in there next time round, if that group is together, are we going to see Fiek attacking on the run into the big drop so that he can lead in and then potentially ride over that bank and then accelerate away, do what Vander Poel did to them, but to do it himself on that bank. Fiek not giving the game away to the 2 Balois Trek lines that time round. Maybe saving that for the last lap if they're together. So lap 7 of 8, 3/4 of an hour's racing in. Vander Poel back out of the saddle. Just pulls that bigger gear over there, just pulling that around. Not seeing him stretch his back at all. It was something that was an issue last year. Still says he can feel it. So in we go, second descent into the curl, into the pit this time round. And again, just surfing that bright round, just keeps so much control, that upper body strength, absolutely phenomenal for somebody who rides a bike. bike onto the shoulder. The skin suit just slightly unzipped. We haven't yet seen the gloves or the glasses come. Oh, and a big mistake there. It looks to me like Toon Vander Bosch just came in, got that line wrong. He's been fighting to stay on the back wheel when there's been an acceleration out the corner. He's been the last one to get on the wheels, and it may well be that he's starting to get tired. Mistakes generally happen when you get more and more tired. He's now got to recompose himself. It looks like he's on the edge. See that again. Goes in, just slides out of the, almost just trying to rely on the banked sand at the edge to keep him in there. I don't think he caught an edge. It certainly looked like it pushed out. No problems, he's not injured, but he now needs to recompose himself, get back up with the 3 riders in front. We're about to remount. So at the moment, the gap showing 6 seconds that Vander Bosch lost on that descent with that mistake to Nieuwenhuis, to Sveek and to Ronha. He was also right on their heels. But all this happening behind our race leader. Oh, looks like a problem here. Hey, over the top he goes, and well, he rolled it out. The bike went on top of him. Thibaut Nice not getting that right by any stretch of the imagination, but he's picked himself back up again. Great avoiding action there by Ryan Camp. Camp has gone off into the lead there. I think he's just in front of Thibaut Nice at the moment, and it's gained him about 15 seconds, in fact, because Nice had to pick himself back up once again. It's about that kind of ballpark number, and that's the problem of having a mistake out on the course, which puts you on the floor. You've got to get back up, not only on the bike, but you've got to get back up to speed. So it was 4. They're currently 3. Toon Vander Bosch, after that mistake, has been hemorrhaging time. He's currently lost about 12 seconds to the chasing threesome behind the world champion. It could well be that Toon Vander Bosch's chance of getting back on has gone. We're on lap 7 of 8. We're on the penultimate lap. We will have 1 lap left to go when we hit the line next time round. Toon Vander Bosch sitting 8th in the series. He will help himself to a few more points on the way up. It's going to help him a little bit, but the big points gaps are right up at the front of the race. Quick reminder, 40 points for the win, 30 for second, 25 for third, 22 for fourth. Ali Isabit, the series leader, looking to try and keep as many of those points with him as is possible. Currently sitting in 6th place with Verstringer in 7th and Lars van der Haar in 8th. The man in black, Camp, the rider immediately behind as we see the world champion, another rider being lapped by Mathieu van der Poel. So here we go, right turn. 1 more right at the end of this section, and he'll be back on to the tarmac once again. The clocks are started by the race officials, the commissaires. They will now know that any rider that comes through over a set time, they're going to be taking them out of the race and giving them their finishing position. They won't be on the same lap as this man. So Van der Poel on the start, zips up the jersey. It's a headwind blowing down the straight. 1 more lap left to go for Mathieu van der Poel. The clock starts here as the bell rings out. These riders will be able to hear it. They're not that far behind. The speaker's blowing out across the race venue here in Zonhoven. Peace and quiet of the nature reserve are well and truly disturbed here today, and that's just by the earthquake created by the speed of Van der Poel out and round the course. Never mind the dance tent, the various refreshment tents that are going to be playing away for a long time yet. Now here comes the 3 riders, 2 podium spots. Lots of points at stake in the series, and this man's not giving up at the moment. Toon Vander Bosch, well, he's trying so hard here. He lost contact with a fall on the descent, and that is what's cost him time. He's got to get back in. Mathieu van der Poel He's been pushing those laps out this time round, though only 1 second separating his time as he goes down to curl for the last time on the main descent. He's getting a massive round of applause from these riders here. 7:29 from Vander Poel, last time at 7:30 from the chasing group. He powers his way up there. That wasn't the prettiest descent he's made of that, but when you're Mathieu Vander Poel, I think you can probably get away with making it look a little scruffy every now and then. You're still riding things that most people wouldn't even think about. Well, who's your money on here? Who is your pick? We've got Nieuwenhuis, and we've got Svik, and we've got Ronhaar. All three have led this. Svik hasn't managed to get to the front on the descent here, where there is the potential to ride. Nieuwenhuis is going in first. Can Nieuwenhuis ride this? He's going to kick over the top. Nieuwenhuis almost makes it. And look, that Svik's in there. This is about Nieuwenhuis's remount, and he's done it. I think Svik not using that to the maximum advantage. He could have got round Nieuwenhuis. He might have had a chance to accelerate away, but the three riders still together behind Mathieu Vander Poel. The gap from Vander Poel back to Nieuwenhuis, 41 seconds at the moment. Well, the ride's right on the limit, and now is the time where it's going to really be important not to make a mistake. Any mistake here, you are losing places. Ellie Isbit having to run. I tell you what, I don't know what the Creelan riders have for breakfast, but their ascending skills are absolutely fantastic. They're spot on riding over the top. It might just be a matter of belief. It might just be a matter of getting the technique right. It may just be they've got a slightly different pressure in the tyres, allowing them to get just the right amount of grip, but they are riding that well. Definitely the team who's got that nailed the most. A little bit of a kicker there as they went over the banking. Nieuwenhuis, Svik and Ronhaar with the gap back to Van der Bosch. Van der Bosch is chasing hard. He's not quite in touch as Vander Poel already down the second descent into the curl on this lap. Tight right-hand turn. No problems at all. The man with the number one on his back. Oh, little bit of mistake there. Put the date in your diary. It is today, the 7th of January, and Mathieu Vander Poel missed putting his feet in the pedals. It shows you just how good he is, that it's notable when he gets things wrong. Now into the descent. This is the fight. This is for second, third and fourth place as they come down this descent. At the moment, Ronhaar's the one who's losing a little bit of ground. He's going to try and charge back onto the heels of these riders coming round the bank here. Svik has had a mistake here previously. He remounts smoothly. A little bit of a gap opening to Nieuwenhuis. Can Nieuwenhuis extend this further? Can he push on from here? Laurens Svik has not had a win so far. He's had 1 second place in the World Cups. He's had 2 third places in the World Cup so far. This could be at least equaling his best here with second. It could possibly be a third. He could be off the podium. It's all going to depend how he rides that last lap. Needs to maybe harness some inner Mathieu Vander Poel to get up and get clear. He needs to get some distance. If it comes down to a sprint, it may well be who's got anything left in the tank and leads on to that relatively short finishing. They are down and chasing. They're on the way through. Nieuwenhuis just starting to open a little bit of a gap up at Svik each and every time. But this is now putting the pressure on Nieuwenhuis. He's not getting enough of a gap to be decisive. He can't afford to make a mistake, but he's pushing really hard. At the moment, Ronhaar is behind him and he can see what's going on. He's potentially in a position to challenge. He can't afford to let that gap get too big, but he'll carry plenty of pace down into this turn. So Pim Ronhaar quickly back on to the heels of Laurens Svik, and Nieuwenhuis kicks out of this turn once again. These three riders in that battle, second, third and fourth place in the race. They're well cleared now of two. Vander Poel has lost what is about 23 seconds now on this group. He's not going to make that back. You can see him on the back. He's on the ascent as they are on the descent, and Nieuwenhuis really pushing it to the limit there. The bike sliding around underneath him. Sweeck has got to respond now. Time is going to run out for him if he doesn't. Lawrence Sweeck breathing hard. You can see him focused on that back wheel. He doesn't want to let it go. Pim Ron has his mouth open. He's maybe not looking quite as on the limit as Sweeck at this stage. The race leader, the man who's looking to turn this into a race win. He's looking cool as a cucumber at the moment. Absolutely no problems at all as he goes around the right turn along that bank. There's a big shout coming out there. The Karelin squad shouting Lawrence Sweeck on. Another big kick out of that corner. Nieuwenhuis really accelerating up there. He is setting the pace that Lawrence Sweeck has to answer. It's another bike length or so as he comes up there. This is starting to open up, but Ronhaar is being distanced. I think the second chance for the Balois straight lines is gone. This man needs no second chances. 10 out of 10 this season, a perfect 4 out of 4 in the World Cups. The winner at the Zonhoven World Cup for 2024. It is Mathieu Vander Poel. He now makes that 4 wins in the elite race. 2 wins here as a junior, and this is the run for the line. Nieuwenhuis has got the gap on Sweeck. Sweeck's got nothing there. He's not going to be able to sprint it out. Joris Nieuwenhuis takes second place, maximises the points available. Sweeck comes through immediately behind him, and then Pim Ronhaar has absolutely nothing. Those pedals are not going to move with any kind of energy at all. He gave it everything today. It's not going to be a podium for Pim Ronhaar, but it is a 4th place today. Now behind, how many riders can ping in laps? Joris Nieuwenhuis, quick note for you, equalled the fastest lap time. That is 7:11 for Joris Nieuwenhuis as he took second there, equaling Mathieu Vander Poel's fastest lap. That gap continuing to extend over to Vander Poel, who came across in 5th place. Ellie Isabet, welcome back from BEL. Ellie, he's back. He's got 6th place. He faded a little at the start of the race, found his pace, found his rhythm. 1:11 down, but the time is immaterial. It's the points, the scores on the doors that are going to count in the series overall. As you can see, Van den Bosch and Verstringer in and through. The Karelin squad had a good day out at the office today. Lars van der Haar maybe would have wanted a little bit more. Van der Haar is going to come through an 8th place today for Lars. A very busy Christmas period, a cursed period for Lars. Well, there's no stopping this man. The world champion, multi-time world champion Mathieu Vander Poel coming through for race victory. The battle behind unfolds with sure we got Camp coming in. I think that is going to be a very frustrated Thibaut. This indeed is a bang on the handlebars as he comes in behind Wout Hubs. As they make their way in over the line. Quinten Hermans, the man who added the second part of the course, is going to come through ahead of Gianni Vermeersch. Vermeersch not going to have his best day, and definitely not a good day for Niels van der Poel, a man who has definitely got the skills to do this, not going to be right where he wants to be. Good day today. Good to see Michael Boris closing down on the top spot again, just outside the top 15. So Witsmussen is going to make his way down. He's had 2 top 10s so far, 2 9th places are not going to be that today. A 17th place for him, and I don't think that this is going to be one to remember for Kevin Kuhn. Kevin coming through in 18th place behind Mewson. So So I think could well see a sprint here between Nathan Bommel and Felipe Oz. Oz is on his wheel here. Bommel is opening it up. Has he got enough to hold him clear? Oz goes over the top of him. He's going to take that. Well, that's what we like to say. Handshakers are going through. Bommel just being beaten by Oz as they came through. And all these riders are going to be very glad to see the finishing line here today. An absolutely cracking race. The master was waiting to pounce. He came, he saw, he conquered. I'll tell you something, Imperious Mathieu Vander Poel.
10 out of 10. How did you do that in school?
Not that often, I think. Yeah, I'm super happy with how this part of a cyclocross season went. But I'm also happy that I can go to Spain now and work on the shape again.
First part of the race, you stayed in second place. Why?
Just yeah, seeing how the race was developing, and yeah, it was quite cold for the first time, so it took a while before I got into my own rhythm.
But after that, you got warm.
Now, warm is a lot to say for sure, but yeah, it's quite a tough race, and yeah, I didn't want to waste too much energy today.
What does this new victory mean to you?
Yeah, I'm always happy to win, of course, and I felt quite okay. But like I said, I'm happy that I can go and do some more training again.
Mathieu Vander Poel, gefeliciteerd. Het is bijgehouden door iemand. Het zou jouw 400ste zege zijn van de jeugd tot en met vandaag.
Ja, dat zijn er veel natuurlijk. Ik hou het zelf niet echt bij natuurlijk, maar ik ben wel ja, gewoon blij mee hoe het gaat.
Je hebt een tijdje tweede gereden, hè? Waarom?
Ja, gewoon een beetje gekeken hoe dat de wedstrijd begon. En ik moet zeggen, Joris Nieuwenhuis reed eigenlijk wel een vrij stevig tempo die eerste ronde, dus ik zat daar vrij goed.
Heb je je lijnen kunnen rijden dan en doen wat je wilde doen eens je op kop kwam?
Ja, toch wel. Het was vooral dat we de eerste keer de put uit moesten rijden. Dat ik al een paar keer gevoeld had dat ik dat wel naar boven kon rijden waar dat de rest van de fiets moest. En het werd een beetje drummen en toen heb ik ervoor gekozen om als eerste dat stuk aan te vatten.
Dit is de perfecte 10 op 10. Hoeveel keer heb je dat op school meegemaakt?
Niet zo heel veel. Nee, ik ben heel blij met hoe het gaat. Vorig jaar was het een heel ander verhaal natuurlijk. Dus ja, ik ben heel blij hoe het gaat. En ik kijk er ook wel naar uit om terug naar Spanje te vertrekken nu.
En dan nog 4. Dan denk ik dat je nu toch stilaan begint te denken... Oké, ik maak het af, 100%.
Ja, laten we hopen. Maar ik denk, vorig jaar hebben we gezien in Benidorm ook dat de verschillen heel klein zijn. Dat het daar heel moeilijk is om die koers naar je toe te trekken. Maar zoals ik al een paar keer heb gezegd, ik ben niet zo bezig met al die crossen te winnen. Ik moet alleen Tabor winnen dit seizoen. Wat ik voor mijn crossseizoen ook al zei. Dus daar ligt de focus nog steeds.
Nog eens gefeliciteerd. Dankjewel, Mathieu.
Well, great to hear from Mathieu Vander Poel. And in that interview, apparently that is his 400th win from youth through in cyclocross. So 400 wins for Mathieu Vander Poel. No wonder our interviewers are having to search for new questions for him. We've got to say, asking Mathieu new questions. It's going to take some tough doing, but no problems for Mathieu Vander Poel in terms of taking the win. A born winner. And he will move on from here to a training camp in the south of Spain, very close in fact to Benidorm. He's going to be putting in the miles. Very interested to see what time he could do at the Col de Rats and how much he blows everybody out of the water by a long old climb. But you know what, there's not a lot I've put past this man being able to do. He showed today he got the skills. Whether it transfers from the sand here to the sand on Benidorm, a very fast course last year, and a little bit of a change from what he raced last time round where we saw the big three battle it out. After Benidorm, he'll be heading across to his home race in Hoogerheide, the Grand Prix Andrew Vander Poel, named after his father, and that will round out the World Cup before he goes to Tabor to defend those rainbow stripes. Mathieu Vander Poel looking like he is the man to beat this season. So 2 rounds of the World Cup are left. Taking away victory on this round number 12, Mathieu van der Poel. You see Ellie Iserbyt's recovery up into 6th position. Ryan Camp down into 10th place. When those points added up, Joris Nieuwenhuis is up to 270 points to Ellie Iserbyt's 295. He opened a gap, a little bit of a gap to Pim Ronhaar. That's 10 points between them. Lars van der Haar in 4th. So positions very similar as they come through. Mathieu van der Poel has managed to push his way up in 4 races up into what is 9th place. What a fantastic race. What a way to do it. And look at the very rare shot we see of De Kuil, where our riders set off from and hours are racing in front of them. The sign said, Matthew, you are the best. The expectation was on him, but coming off from the start, Joris Nieuwenhuis and Laurens Fiek showed their intent very early on. Ellie Iserbyt having a dig to try and go up to the front. The series leader wanted to maximise it. And the most unfortunate man of the day, Cameron Mason, 65th and last, and retiring from the race. As it came down into De Kuil for the first time, the huge crowds cheering on Joris Nieuwenhuis, followed by Laurens Fiek. Iserbyt still in contention with Mathieu van der Poel, waiting to pounce. Van der Poel almost always seen in the 2nd place position when our initial leading group of 6 started to split clear. Pim Ronhaar, Mathieu van der Poel, Joris Nieuwenhuis, Laurens Fiek, as well as Toon van der Bosch, being chased by Thibaut Nice as they came into the muddy section prior to the next descent of De Kuil at the half race distance. On the lap running into that, Mathieu van der Poel dropped down smoothly and, more importantly, rode his way straight out of the bank. Nieuwenhuis couldn't match it. The gap opened, and that was it. The next time Nieuwenhuis was going to see much of Mathieu van der Poel would be on the podium, because Van der Poel's gap was in. And the moment that happens, we all know there's next to no stopping the man in the rainbow stripes at the moment. He went clear. Nieuwenhuis did everything he could. He threw the kitchen sink to try and get up to Van der Poel and to stay clear of the chase behind, with Pim Ronhaar being the rider struggling at this stage. Van der Poel, though, showed it wasn't a fluke the previous lap, and lap after lap he rode the top section as the chasers were reduced down to 4 riders. So Pim Ronhaar going down, leading them down, broke it down to 3 riders as a mistake by Toon van der Bosch on the top of the big descent saw him lose contact. Ronhaar really looking like he was on the limit, but Mathieu van der Poel cruised home to take away a 10 out of 10 record in races this year. 4 wins out of 4 in the World Cup this season. He came home ahead of Joris Nieuwenhuis. Nieuwenhuis really reinforcing that 2nd place in the series. Laurens Fiek makes another podium here at Zonhoven in 3rd place. Ronhaar came in 4th, and then behind Toon van der Bosch. A great ride by Mathieu van der Poel, and he was chased all the way as long as possible by Joris Nieuwenhuis, who said he wasn't going to win today, but he was best of the rest.
Yes and no. I mean, this year it's a bit weird for me because all the races I couldn't do a good result before, like past years. I did a good result this year, like Boom, I won, which I didn't race well before. Gavra I also never raced well, and I also did a good race there, and then today again.
And in the sand.
Yeah, also. So yeah, I surprised myself a little bit today.
Can we consider you as the revelation of this season?
I think there are a few this year that are doing really well, which is nice to watch, I think. So yeah.
And are you a favorite now for the nationals next week?
Yeah, also there we are with 3 guys who are doing really well at the moment. I think it really will depend on that day who is the best.
Thank you. Joris Nieuwenhuis, kijk eens aan. Een van de revelaties van het seizoen, die zichzelf weer een beetje verbaast vandaag.
Ja, toch wel een beetje weer. Aan de ene kant, ik merk wel dit jaar dat alle wedstrijden waar ik hiervoor eigenlijk nooit echt goed reed, gaan dit jaar echt supergoed. Gaveren ging dit jaar heel goed, ging andere jaren niet zo goed. Boom ging het ook heel goed dit jaar en andere jaren niet. En eigenlijk hier hetzelfde.
En nu rij je ook in het zand bijna zonder problemen rond.
Ja, daarin merk ik gewoon dat ik heel veel op mijn crosser heb getraind dit jaar voor het eerst. Ik heb de hele zomer gewoon op die fiets kunnen rijden. En ja, dat merk je toch wel op dit soort parcoursen.
Ben je nu weer helemaal verknocht aan de cross?
Ja, vorig jaar al en dit jaar eigenlijk altijd al wel. Maar ik heb gewoon even een zijspoor gehad en nu ben ik weer terug.
Getwijfeld aan de tweede, derde plaats tijdens de race vandaag?
Ja, en vierde ook, eerlijk gezegd. We waren echt met een groepje en ik had het idee dat iedereen echt wel even sterk was. Dat er niet echt per se iemand bovenuit stak. En uiteindelijk denk ik dat ik de goede keuzes maakte op de goede momenten in de laatste ronde. En daardoor dat ik dan tweede word.
Ben je nu favoriet voor de kampioenschappen volgende week?
Ik denk dat we daar echt met 3 man naartoe gaan. Met 3 jongens die alle 3 in hetzelfde team zitten. En ook nog alle 3 heel goed rijden dit seizoen. Dus het wordt echt degene die op die dag de sterkste jongen is, die gaat winnen.
Dankjewel en veel succes volgende week.
Ja, dankjewel.
Well, very modest Joris Nieuwenhuis there. Have to say, I thought he has been definitely one of the revelations of the season. We knew he had class. He's a rider who has shown us before that he is up with the SC Under-23 world champion from 2017, if I remember correctly, and a man who took silver in 2018. He is a rider who we know can be up there. Will he be one of the top 3 at the national championships? Well, that is a big ask. You've got 3 very strong riders.
Congratulations.
Lawrence Fiek,
If there is sand,
another good rider,
still the man.
Zonhoven.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit better legs the last week. And yeah, then also, of course, that suits me a little bit better. And then the results are also better. So,
Could you be second today?
I think it was a tough race with the 3-4 guys we were. And in the end, Joris was a little bit stronger. He attacked from the head already, the second last lap. And I didn't have an answer, so I think he was the strongest.
Can you be a favorite for next week in the nationals?
I don't know. I think I was the first Belgian guy today, so in that opinion, yes. But we will see what it brings. I think I'm getting better now, week by week, and the goal is to take the win next week. And I will do everything to be there on the first spot.
Thank you. Laurens Week, als er zand is, dan sta je op. Hè. Het is straf, hè?
Maar ja, kokzijde was er ook zand, maar daar was ik dan toch ook niet op podium. Ik denk dat ik vandaag net iets beter was dan in kokzijde en dat zie je ook aan het resultaat.
Het is een heel moeilijk jaar geweest voor jou. Sta je nu echt weer ongeveer recht?
Ja, ongeveer denk ik, want als ik hier echt de oude Laurens ben, dan denk ik dat ik Joris hier nog moet kloppen voor die tweede plaats. Dus in dat opzicht ben ik nog niet helemaal terug, maar het belangrijkste is dat ik op het podium sta en dat ik terug gekoerst heb voor meer als een derde plaats. En als je dan even niet naar Mathieu kijkt, dan ziet het er wel goed uit.
Is dit nu voor jou een stap naar voren ook, met het oog op het kampioenschap van volgende week?
Ja, toch wel. Ik heb wel het gevoel dat het iets beter gaat. Maar ja, om nu te zeggen dat de voorbije maanden zomaar vergeten zijn en weggeveegd zijn, ik denk dat dat nog wat afgesproken is. Maar ik doe gewoon mijn best een heel jaar al en het heeft nog niet echt meegezeten en ook nog niet echt goed geweest. En ik hoop dat nu allemaal dit jaar allemaal in de juiste plooi terugvalt.
Dank u wel en succes volgende week.
Dank u.
We'll see if he will be successful. The National Championships looming large on the riders who will be there. Vander Poel not going to take to the start. So in the Netherlands National Champs, that's likely to be Lars van der Haar, Joris Nieuwenhuis and Pim Rohan fighting that out. Will it be Lawrence Fiek? Will it be Elias Bit? That is all to come next week. But we have now the podium presentation for the UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup here in Zonhoven.
Voor de officiële huldiging van deze 14e marge in het kader van de UCI Cyclo-cross World Cup. We hebben er met volle teugen van genoten. Het publiek was massaal op post en zij hebben de strijd gezien voor de podiumplekken. En die zijn ingepalmd door deze mannen. De derde podiumplek is gegaan naar iemand die vandaag een fantastische wedstrijd heeft gereden. Met 1 week nog te gaan richting het Belgisch kampioenschap. Weet dat de vorm zeker en vast aanwezig is. Zonhoven, uw applaus voor Laurens Swick.
So Laurens Swick equals his third place of the last year on the podium. Once again here, his second podium, sorry, third podium in fact, here in Zonhoven.
Applaus voor Laurens Swick. Ook de tweede heeft gevochten als een leeuw. Het is uiteindelijk een tweede plaats geworden voor een man die eigenlijk al heel het seizoen op een geweldig hoog niveau bezig is. Mag ik een applaus voor Joris Nieuwenhuis?
Joris Nieuwenhuis been able to excel at races. He has done well up before and again. Great to see him back in cyclocross and becoming a regular on the podium.
10e seizoenszege is een feit. De winnaar van deze 14e wereldbekermarge van dit seizoen is de wereldkampioen geworden. Uw applaus voor Vander Poel.
So Vander Poel takes away the race win, a second last year. 3 wins previously in the elite men's race, twice a winner in the junior race at Zonhoven, and he is the man of the season so far, surely.
Dames en heren, graag uw aandacht om samen met ons te luisteren naar het Wilhelmus, het Nederlandse volkslied. Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please for the national anthem of the Netherlands.
So after the national anthem of the Netherlands, the applause rings out for the top 3 here today. Laurens Swick in third, Joris Nieuwenhuis in second, and Vander Poel on the top spot. And it is the inevitable selfie heading the way of social media. Make sure you grab hold of that, catch hold of that. The riders are going to just do a check, no doubt, make sure that they've got all of the pictures. Fantastic stuff by our riders here today. Great to see the crowds here today at Zonhoven. Make sure that you come and join us for the next round of the World Cup. That will be in Benidorm. Vander Poel will be on the back of a big training camp on a venue that he really enjoys. Out in the sunshine, maybe the gloves will even come off as they make their way out and around. The crowd's now going to be grabbing selfies with the riders. A great ride today by Vander Poel to take a victory. Make sure you tune in for the final Benidorm in 2 weeks' time, and Hoogerheide in 3 weeks' time. From me, Matt Payne. Stay safe. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.